Good morning and welcome in. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a few optics here that we're dealing with here on this Sunday morning. We know for 16 consecutive weekends we've ended the week red, and today seems to be starting to follow that same path. We talked yesterday about a lot of optimism as I felt like it was a bullish push yesterday. We had a target of $2.25. Whether we remain bullish or bearish after that, we didn't know. We came up and as you can see, we hit 100% basically right at that $2.20. Well, we hit $2.25, 224.6. So we'll mark this as the leveling top. We'll just remeasure just a little bit. Maybe I was off. Well, no, it missed it by a little bit. But I mean, we had a target up to $2.25. Am I going to split hairs here that it came up to 224.6? No, it filled out our technical target. And now this is when it gets dangerous because now we're going to have to create what, unfortunately, some things, if we look at some of the charts, you could see rising wedges start to form across the market. However, XRP right now, after filling out this technical move up, we now have a golden cross here in the 2-hour that we're dealing with. We have the 20 cross and the 50, 100, and now 200. We're back testing that in the 2-hour time frame, which is not necessarily bearish. This is a back test to see if we can keep that bullish momentum. The big key takeaway here is we got rejected after going over the 200-day. We have a long leg doji, which is a reversal to start here in the morning on Sunday, which is to be expected. We've been red 16 straight Sundays. Did we expect the 17th to be green? Not necessarily, but we knew Saturday was going to be hot. And there was money to be made on Saturday. Now, Sunday, we'll have to see. The 200-day is going to first have to be given. We're going to have to take that out and hold at 218. Then we're going to have to take out that 225 because that's the resistance that we got stomped on. And then we'd have to push out, and then we could break over 229 and then ultimately push out to that 265 and beyond. Otherwise, if this 225 is a rejection, that's an interesting dilemma to be in because right now it does look like we're creating an inverse head and shoulders. But when we talked yesterday and the last couple of days, if we were to come up like this, see how we came down on the left shoulder, head. Now when it does this, you're more than likely going to come back down on a right shoulder if it's going to hold out. And I don't know if it's going to be right down to here, if it's going to come down here to the 20-day and push out if it holds. Otherwise, it would come down here and start bouncing here if it's going to hold. So there is a couple different scenarios that can play out. But now that we filled out that 225, that bullish talk from yesterday is gone. And now we have to see if we can sit through Sunday. I had a lot of fun on Saturday because it was bullish. We could see that the technical setup marked us up to 225. But as we said yesterday, once it gets up there, whether it remains bullish or bearish, we have no idea. We're going to have to see the kind of hit it has and then the way it plays out on Sunday. And unfortunately, the start Sunday, as the USA is waking up at, now it's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:13 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We always give grace on Sundays especially. So instead of 9 a.m., 9:30, we say 10, 10:30, 11. And now we're hitting that kind of a strategic area in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time we're approaching. And this is what happens. I'm going to go to church. I got to leave here at 10:45. I was going to do a live this morning, but I was up until 5:30 this morning. My son woke up at 2 a.m., so I had to get a little bit of sleep. So I decided to sleep until like 9:30, took a shower, and then I decided to do this update. We'll see how it goes tonight. I'll probably do my normal live tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to send us into the work week. But we'll have to see how it goes. So with that being said, good morning. 10:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, April 13th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So right now, we'll see if we come back down in the 4-hour time frame. If the 2-hour golden cross is lost, which we have a 20-day at $2.12, and then the 200 days at $2.08, which is ironic because that $2.08 was that first resistance that once we overtook that and held the support, that signaled our move to 225. And I'm fortunate that our technicals, even if it does break back down, that our technicals gave us that short-term rally. And then anybody who's watching the market could have made a short-term play. And you could have made about 17.2% in the last day and a half or so. IOTA, I had played it up, but it also came up to its resistance area and I sold out of it. Not because I wanted to, but when it came up last night, I said the best opportunity here is just to sell it. And then we'll see if it backtests the Goldencross in the 2 hour, which right now it's failed. I just didn't want to be set up with what we talked about yesterday. And this made about 70%. It was a great move. But I didn't want to be caught in the up inverse, come back down to backtest, and then break out. I didn't want to be caught in this slingshot back down, because on Sunday, you know, if we were going to break down, this was the overall sentiment. And then it would be about a 17% drop, which would still be very bullish. It would have a nice inverse head and shoulders set up perfectly. But once you start coming through the 2 hour, you can start to see the writing somewhat on the wall. So we need to, in a quick fashion, in this market reverse. Otherwise, we're heading towards a bloody Sunday right now. Engulfing candle in the 2 hour to the downside. But we haven't invalidated the Goldencross because we can still pull up. But if it were to get rejected on the pull up at 1655, 1660, that would be a horrible sign for IOTA. At least for the short-term drop here today. Bitcoin's down 1,500 points or 1.8% to 83,738. Again, after yesterday's beautiful move, now we're backtesting the pushouts. And this is what we talked about yesterday. The backtest, we already backtested the first layer. Now we have to try to backtest the second layer, either 83,300 or it's going to come back down near the 200 at 82,700. And we'll have to deal with it from there. So that is 100% what we are trying to deal with here today. So can Bitcoin backtest and hold at 82,300 at worst? Can XRP come back and backtest at worst? At worst, even if we come back down, can we at least hold the Goldencross and hold that 208 area? Or are we going to all of a sudden have to start to work this in the 4 hour time frame, reject it at the 200 day, backtest at 206 at the 20 day, and then start to push out, because the 4 hourly looks bearish. The 4 hourly looks like a bearish rejection on the 200 day, and that can be reversed as the day goes on, but that is something to take notice of as the day goes on, because that is absolutely a long leg doji in the 4 hourly, which actually it'll absolutely equal a pattern reversal. And it actually makes sense because we got rejected at this breakout area, which was the mid-tier point originally, and then we dropped all the way back down to the support structure. Now bouncing back up to the 200 at 225, 220 area. Now we have to back test the breakout, which makes a lot of sense. And if we go at it in real time, let's say we break below 206, it'd be that $2 level. So basically we're back testing the $2 level to see, assuming this falls all the way down, to see if we do in fact have an inverse right arm. And a lot will be decided here, because it's either going to be, this is where we maintain that bullish thesis, and then we can bounce out and then come all the way up to the top, 265 and then 280. Or we start to layer down, get rejected at $2, start coming down here, and then we're back at that $1.50 fair value gap, and it could roll all the way down to $1.38. So a very urgent situation here today. If I was you, I would pay attention to the trading setups. I would look in my video description below or pinned comments of this very video, or I would look on my homepage, click on the link, and go look at BITUNIX. Lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker fee, no KYC or VPN worldwide, and I encourage you to use it. I send so many different things from different exchanges if it's not on, or if it's available on BITUNIX, so that I can sell my asset, and then I'll send it back in USD or USDT so I can offload it to my wherever I want to go. Or I will buy stuff here on BITUNIX, and then I will send it over to another exchange. Like if I want to put it on crypto.com or somewhere else, that's where I'll do it. But I always buy, if I can, on BITUNIX. Crypto.com I have mainly for DGB, so I have a way to buy it. But I would absolutely encourage you to use BITUNIX so you have the lowest spot and leverage trading fees, and so that you can swing trade this market. So like yesterday, the XRP went up like 10 to 15% in the last 24 hours before the dump back down. You could have swing traded that on BITUNIX and cost like $2 or $3, even if you spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. $10,000 might have cost you $5. Other exchanges, that same $5,000 to $10,000 is going to cost me a few $100s if it's got the 2 to 3% fees. So I try to stay away from it. And I've been encouraging a lot more lately for you to join BITUNIX so you don't have to deal with all that bullshit. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo if you want to send a donation. You can always join Dom's Army and for $9.99 a month and support my channel. I do all this content for free. I hide behind no paywalls. I've been doing this since March of 2021 and I've not missed a single day. So if you want to show support, it'd be a great way to do it. I appreciate, we just went over 33,000 subscribers overnight. We're at 33,100. We've been on quite the tear in April. We have more subscribers in April than we had in January, February, and March, basically combined. So it's been a breakthrough month for sure. I appreciate all the support as we aim towards 40,000 subscribers here this year. I think we can get to it by the end of the year. We'll see. We've definitely been on a tear in the month of April, and I thank all of you for that continued support. With that being said, we'll watch XRP. If, in fact, this is a long leg doji, which it looks like in the 4-hourly, very bearish, the 2-hourly would give way if this follows through. We would lose the $2.11 Golden Cross on the 20-day support. And we should backtest the Golden Cross on the 200 and the 2-hourly. But with the setup that we're seeing in the 4-hourly, that may push us right back down to that $2 level. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I hope this update found you well. I'm going to get myself set up because I got to go to church shortly. I want to make sure the kids are okay because my son fell asleep after being up since 2 in the morning. So I just want to make sure all that's going well. And I've been very transparent, very transcending, and very on the mark for everybody, especially this weekend. We called that rally up to 225, and then we said that's where trouble can happen with the rejection. If it was going good, we would have broke 229 and continued the journey. And we said yesterday, if everything's going horribly wrong, you'll know that because we break back below $2. It's really going wrong, though, if you break $2.08. Because then the Golden Cross and the 2-hourly is given way, and then you're down to your last support structure at the pattern support at $2. By no means is this pattern broken down. It's actually back testing, but this is the day to be bearish. And then if it's meant to go bullish tomorrow at 8 or tonight at 8 p.m. when that candle flips, that's when you would start to get that more parabolic candle. This is absolutely a back test candle and a retracement candle, which even if it wasn't Sunday, it would be prototypical. But because it's Sunday, it makes such perfect sense. Don't let your emotions dictate your response. If you made it till the end, hashtag be better, do better in the comments. And don't forget to give your thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful, blessed Sunday morning. Remain humble, show humility, be helpful, not hurtful. This community is about positivity, not negativity. Have a blessed day. Go embrace it. I'll catch you guys later.